Hello and welcome to Pretty Good Gaming's podcast number 31. Jake Kulkowski here, your host, and joining me today, Mr. Mike Williams.
How's it going?
And Mr. Gareth Evans.
Hello.
We've been to EGX this weekend. We were there Thursday through Sunday, and this is basically helping us get rid of all of our overspill of content. We've got so much to talk about. We were there. We were boots on the ground. We were playing games. We were waiting in queues. We were meeting fans. We're going to tell you all about it, okay? Because there's loads to cover. So let's just jump straight into it and talk about the general atmosphere, because this is our first games thing, games convention, or really outing as Pretty Good Gaming.
Yeah, this time last year we were just like you guys. We were just going about our jobs. We weren't doing gaming, or we kind of doing gaming. We'd only just started the channel this time last year. Jake wasn't part of the team, so
things were better.
Yeah.
Just fucking
first
fucking minute in.
So for you to get a kind of picture of where we're coming from, we're not journalists, and we've said it before, but to be invited to an event like this as journalists, as press, with this VIP badge around our necks, we got access to the devs, we got access to games that we normally wouldn't do, or anybody else normally wouldn't. It felt kind of special. It felt like it was. It felt weird, but it was awesome. It was very awesome. So yeah, how did you guys feel? Was it? It just felt weird.
It was
awesome
kind of weird, wasn't it? We would like regular people, and yeah, we got to go to the press area. It was weird. We were sitting next to these guys, and I was like, "Oh, that's like Ben from What Culture." It felt weird that other YouTubers.
Andy Serkis walked in.
Yeah,
and these guys started fangirling over him.
Yeah,
and
guys were too cool to that. Who has emotions?
They were like, "Shall we go up to him?" And I was already up there. I was like, "Since you're on your feet, dude, can I do a?" Yeah. And these were like quivering behind me.
An important.
It was Andy Serkis, man.
Yeah, it was Gollum. It was Gollum. Or for our younger viewers, Caesar from that ape film,
which is all fine. That's also valid. Yeah. But more importantly, Gollum. He's the man, Andy Serkis. Precious. He's just the man. He's my favourite. So he was just hanging out in the press room after doing this talk on stage, right? And he just come through to the press area to avoid all of the fangirling, I assume. But he got accosted as soon as we
everyone was fangirling.
I mean, to be fair to Jake, I've already said thank you about 5 times for leading a charge on that, right? And here it goes again to be on record. Thank you, Jake, for going up to Andy Serkis first. And
what was
encouraging me to do it?
I went up first.
What was funny?
Yeah, he went up first.
I can't remember.
All I remember is
you girls were fanboying so much over it that you noticed me going up saying,
to our female viewers, by the way.
Since you're on your feet, do you mind doing this?
Well, what's funny is that the press room, and let me let you guys know this, the press room were way too cool to go and speak to Andy Serkis.
Until we went up to
Until one person did it and opened the floodgates, and all of a sudden everyone was up.
Just being the fucking southerners that they are, just sauntering up, just like,
there we go.
Seeing as I'm standing up, I might as well
Shouts out to our female viewers and our Southern English viewers. So speaking of sort of getting picture opportunities with people, here's an interesting thing that we experienced. That people coming up to us asking us for pictures and stuff. Again, we felt like we were just normal people there. We were still like, oh my god, that's Andy Serkis and stuff. And people were just coming up
it was weird. First time that you guys have experienced anything like that. I've had a limited amount of that in the past, where I've been approached randomly when I'm on holiday. You're the guy who does the guitar lessons, right? I've had that in the past. I'm kind of used to it, I guess. So what was it like for you guys?
I was just Beyonce, wasn't I? Humble, elegant, beautiful, thanking everybody. I was making sure I was really polite and friendly with everybody. I tried to because I'm saying, when I met Andy Serkis or whatever, if he was a bit with me, I would have felt, but he was really, that's all you need to be, isn't it? So I was just trying to make people feel like
he's the best Hollywood guy.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the fucking best one.
So I was just trying to make people feel, we were asking them their names and stuff, and we met a lot of guys. So if there's any of our patrons, I didn't meet Rudy Manchego, though, did I?
I
was jealous of that. I was fanboying over Rudy Manchego. Anyway, so yeah, we met a lot of people, and it was nice to just talk to them. Some of them were kind of nervous. Some of them didn't want to talk to us that much. They didn't want to keep us. But yeah, for me, it was nice. It was cool.
Really interesting for me to hear different people's motivations for being there. Everyone had a different game that they wanted to play. Some people didn't even want to play games. They just wanted to buy merchandise. It was really fascinating for me to just think what other people had on their radar. What was their top priority? Like, what did they rush to first when they came through the door? That's what I was enjoying hearing.
People ran to Mike to meet him. And then they're the same people that won't play any games. So that's funny.
Sprinted over to Mike.
So that we didn't even sprint to Andy Circus. It was a careful saunter.
It was fucking difficult.
You were so weak at the knees that you were like...
So another aspect of being a press star is that you get this big old fucking lanyard in front of you that says press, right? You'd think that would be like I can jump into any queue. Not really. They kind of we still have to queue up for things. I mean, some things we could kind of like weasel our way in, like, can we please? And they'd let us in. But for the most part, we were just like everybody else. The press had to queue up. And there was like a 3-hour queue for Shadow of War. More on that later. But there's loads of these games that have massive queues. And at first, I kind of thought that we wouldn't have to do that. But we experienced the same as everyone else. We paid the same food prices. We waited in the same 4-hour queues.
We're just regular guys. But just on that, it was stark to me and just noticeable to me how much of a gulf there was between the AAA games and the independent games. As in, like, the AAA games had these huge production booths with like people queuing all the way around them and
lights and all that stuff.
And the people there would ask them, any chance with hands on the game? I'm just gonna have to ask this guy, and then he has to check with the other guy, and then it's command. That was all that going on. But walking around the independent games and all those booths, it was like they couldn't welcome us any warmer.
It was lovely.
It was like it was fantastic, because obviously we're kind of the people who can shed a light on some of the independent games. Like they welcoming us with open arms. It's like, come and check out our game, because if we can produce content for them, if we like their game enough, maybe they'll get extra exposure from us. So we were kind of treated like royalty in the independent section, whereas it was the opposite in the AAA games. And that's what I liked about it, like connecting with these independent developers who are passionate about their games, the people who actually make the game who are passionate, and dealing with those people as opposed to dealing with, I'll just check with the chain of command if this is all right. People getting paid to do the thing, and that's something that stuck out to me.
They had a lot more to say about the games, didn't they? They were like volunteering information about the game. They wanted to talk to you about the game, and it wasn't a case of like speaking to a guy, like a cog in a machine. A lot of the time you'd just be talking to the guy or one of the 3, 4, 5 guys who are working on this game. So they got so much to say about the game. They're really interesting to talk to. It was like there was a whole section for indie games, like the Rezzed section. And that was my favourite place in the whole show floor, because it was like you just walk around, you just hop on like any game. There was so many games there, packed full of games. You can just wait for one person to finish their turn, jump on there, and have a good go at the demo. The demos were usually a bit more generous than the AAA ones. The AAA ones were just like, here's 10 minutes and your timer starts now. It was like the indie section was like, it'll take you about 20 minutes to get through this area that we've set up. And there was a lot more freedom and a sense of kind of just wandering through the game, rather than like trying to get it all done in 10 minutes like it was in some of the AAA booths.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the indie devs had made areas, like they'd make like a start and end point to the demo.
That's right, yeah.
Whereas like Assassin's Creed or whatever, for example, was like the game that you're in a town and you could do whatever you want for 10 minutes. Same with Super Mario, like you could do anything you want in the place for 10 minutes and then they cut you off. So obviously EGX is full of games. Let's talk about them in a little more detail, because we played a heck lot of games. A lot.
A whole heap of games.
A whole heap.
Over 100 games. Over 100 games.
We have got them in no particular order, but I tried to think of the ones that we'd kind of all played at first, because that's another thing, guys. Obviously, with the queuing and things, we were with each other all day, every day. We'd kind of like, separate like the fucking Scooby-Doo mystery Inc. Yeah, so we'd been some of these games. Not all of us had played, but for the most part, we've got enough to talk about. First game I can remember playing that we all played was this game called Hidden Agenda, which was like in the PlayStation area. It's like an interactive crime thriller made by Supermassive Games, who made Until Dawn. It's kind of like a Telltale game, but multiple people can play it.
It's kind of like That's You, if anyone's downloaded that for free from PS Plus, which I think it might still be available.
Still, yeah.
So it's kind of like you play with a smartphone, and then you play by committee, basically. So there's a group of you who can play. That actually was a beautiful game, because it does what like Nintendo did with the Wii and stuff, and it just gets people who don't like games to play games, which is great. This is kind of that, but it's a bit more. Yeah, it's a bit more like that Telltale experience of a story, and you can kind of vote and take action in groups and whatever you feel is right to do, kind of thing.
Only it's highly motion captured, the facial
That's
animations,
right, yeah,
like of the quality of Until Dawn. Brilliant, fantastic. I love that aspect of it.
So one part of the game that I guess I didn't really see much of an insight into really, but it's the eponymous feature is the hidden agenda. So you, like in this game, you're a detective or whatever trying to solve a crime. One of the players, who turned out to be Gaz, so maybe Gaz will have a bit more information because I couldn't see what happens, has a hidden agenda at one point in the game where they need to turn the story one way or another. So this is kind of weird because it's kind of like poker that way, I guess. You know, like everyone's got a serious face, everyone's trying to, you know, psych out the other people or whatever. You know, it gets a bit like Cluedo, actually. Simply Phil from this good, more on Simply Phil later, said, you know, it's like Cluedo, one of you is the killer. And it's kind of like that. I don't really get what I don't even know what your agenda was.
Okay, my agenda was to stop the attorney from taking on the case for the defendant. And so there's obviously a couple of eventual possibilities for the story. Now I was trying to get you guys to be skeptical about this case and not choose not to take on the case at the end of it. And if I achieved that, I get 100 points. If you correctly figured out it was me who had the hidden agenda, which you did, you all got 50 points. But there was an interesting mechanic in it where you could overrule all the other guys and just like hit. I can't remember what they were called, but there was like everyone would have got 3 of these cards to play. So you hit the button and then you take over that choice and you direct the very next choice and then it carries on from there. Now all I had to do to complete my mission was to use that card during the crucial decision as to whether we take the case or not. And then I completed my agenda. My task. So it wasn't that difficult. And now I'm wondering how they balance that out, see, because if they give away too many of these, there was like quick time events sometimes where you could earn these an extra one.
That's right. So I earned them both, and that means I had 5, and you had 3 between the 3 of you, which is 9. So there was 14 of these cards. And in the game that we played, we didn't have 14 choices.
There was a 10-minute scene. So I'm wondering how long the game is. Are you in fear of running out of these? Because if you don't run out of them, then it's going to be easy to do your agenda. Yeah.
Because that's the thing. If you don't use one of these cards, the choices is like democratic, right? Yeah. So 3 of you picks one choice, 1 of you picks the other, the 3 wins. But yeah, like Gaz was saying then, the way that we were working this case, me, Liam and Mike kept going this one way. We led the story all the way to take on this case. Then at the last minute, it was a binary yes or no decision. Gaz overrules us. And then it was like, oh, so even though we'd guessed it was Gaz and we'd worked against him the whole time, last minute, because you don't know that that's the last binary choice you're going to make, Gaz uses the card, and then that was like, oh, okay. So like you're saying, yeah, maybe for the demo that was a bit too generous with the cards, but maybe in the game later on you're going to...
If you got 10 scenes in a row, you can only overrule 3.
Exactly.
You might win 3, but by the 6th, 7th, 8th, 10th, you're not going to get... So you got to use... more manipulation of the other players, like and just plant seeds earlier in the game as I wonder if that's a good idea, kind of thing, and use your cunning rather than just overrule all the time.
There's one thing as well. There's a very similar mechanic in that shoe where you get like jokers. So if you play the joker, you get double points, and you don't really use them that much. You're very conservative with them until you've played the game a few times. You realise if you're going to get a high score, you're going to have to use the jokers. I imagine it's a very similar situation with this, where you probably won't use them that much, like we didn't during the demo. But then after a certain time playing it, you're like, I'm going to have to start using this thing if I'm going to, have it go my way or whatever. So I think it'll be that.
Yeah.
The more you play, the more you'll be tempted to use them. So that
there's a lot of balancing issues with conferences like EGX because they have to, just demos in general, really. They have to give you the experience, but at the same time, a lot of this sort of stuff is stuff that you acquire over time. So let's move on to another game.
Just before we move on, I mean, what I loved about that, is just to sum up, is that it is a couch co-op game. It's a game that you can play with your family, people who aren't interested in gaming so much. It's like an interactive movie. And so if you're sitting there with your wife or your friends at a party or something, that's what the Playlink, is it Playlink? Or,
that's
what it's all about. And so as a game, like, it's not for your hardcore gamer, but as a filthy casual who might be interested in just taking part in a story, narrative story like that, I think it would be a really good party game.
Yeah, it's like like the pantry game vibe in it. You don't need 4 controllers as well, because they can
you just need your phone and your race. So I'm really in support of that game. I'm interested to pick it up.
Yeah, it looks interesting. Another game we all played was Total War Warhammer 2, which is another game where you are going to learn a lot about the units that you're using in the game as you play the game, right? But in this demo, it just kind of chucks you in the middle of a battle. You've got all these units, and it's like, oh shit, okay. So you pause the game, you're looking at what they all do. This is an interesting one, right? Because the EGX was like Q City. It was like Q. Total War Warhammer 2 being kind of a, I don't want to say niche, but it's quite hardcore, isn't it? You know,
like it or you
very,
don't.
very strategic, very tactical. But Sega are publishing it, so they had like this huge thing for it. There was like 20 systems playing it.
Yeah,
and there was no queues at any point.
Huge display where you could take a picture on. I don't know, it's a big wheel.
It's like
or
a
something.
Doom wheel, I think Liam called it. So they had no queues. It was one of the few games I saw that every time I went past it had no queues. As of recording today, the reviews are just coming out for this game, and it's doing really well. But we all played that. What did you think of that, guys?
Obviously, it was my first thing I played as soon as I got in there.
You just ran over and sat down, and we were like a little kid, like, "Oh right, we're doing this, are we?"
So I thought it was exactly what I was hoping it to be. To be honest, they had 2 battles on there which you had to go of, and it's exactly what you were saying. Then, like, you get given a huge army, and you're like, you don't know what the situation is, and so that's the problem with kind of demos, especially for a game like Total War. But I think they did a really good job of showcasing everything that you could do in it. All the range of units. Like you can. The beautiful thing with Warhammer is you've got like casters and wizards and like giant monsters and flying monsters, and it's it does so much with the Total War formula. It's fun, and they did a good job of showing you that stuff in the demo. I thought it was good. If anyone sat down and played that weren't sure about Total War, I imagine it would be just about enough to win them over.
Swayed me.
Exactly. You enjoyed it, didn't you?
Also worth saying, it was the smoothest game I played. All EGX, I don't know about you guys, but it ran the. Out of all the games, it ran the smoothest, and it gave me, like, Mike sat down with me towards after he'd finished his demo or whatever, and gave me a little bit more insight into the game that I wasn't aware of, like like how the sort of morale system works, and you can make people flee and stuff. Kind of common sense, really, when you think about it. But if you're in that video game logic mood, you don't think about stuff
kill all the guys, isn't it? But it's
exactly, but it's like kill all the general and make them run away. Guys, you played Total War games before, right? What do you think of this one? This is.
I think for me, the telling fact for me is like the whole thing that it wasn't that popular. It appeared not that popular because there was loads of stations, right? And there were games with a lot fewer stations. Like you think of Battlegrounds, that you'd have thought they'd have had a huge. There was only like 6 or 7, 8, and there was huge queues for that, right? But the thing with Total War, because like they got a huge budget or whatever, they had a huge display, loads of units to sit down and play at. If they had less, obviously you'd start seeing queues. So I think that's part of it. Another part of it is Total War Warhammer 2. If you're not invested in the first one, then people might not think, oh, that's a sequel to a game that I'm not invested in, so I just walk past it, not really that interested. It's quite a niche thing, being a fantasy strategy game on a PC. It's not, everybody was running to the Call of Duty queues. They're not PC strategy gamers, are they? They're there to play Call of Duty before everyone else and get their pictures on Instagram or Twitter or wherever, just to brag to their friends, like whether we were amusing on that.
That you should say that, because you're right. That's something that I guess we didn't kind of touch on a little bit earlier when we were giving a little bit more of an overview about the whole thing. The PC Master Race weren't out in full force, but Call of Duty fans, oh my god, there was flipping loads. Like all these, like you'd think that the gaming community might have been a bit. I don't know what I was expecting, but what I wasn't expecting was Shadow of War, COD World War II, and Assassin's Creed to have massive 4-hour queues. Then again, I kind of was.
Destiny, which
Destiny's
already out, and there's huge queues for that.
Well, we wanted to go with Destiny, right? Because you got a free T-shirt, and we wanted to sit. So as soon as it opened on a Friday, we went there straight away. So we were there like 10:05 when it opened. Early opening as well, by the way. We were there straight away. We were still in the queue for fucking
about
an hour.
Yeah.
And then the queue was like triple that size behind us. So there'd be people there getting in at 10:30, not playing a game till about 1:30, and the game that they're playing, Destiny, they could. Well, I mean, if we were in a queue for 3 hours, let's put it this way: I could have drove into Birmingham, bought the game, drove home, and played it quicker than I could have played it at EGX. So it's a bit fucked up like that. But the queues were massive, especially for. Yeah, not for your Total Wars and stuff, but it was for your Call of Duties. In fact, we didn't play Call of Duty because
screw them, they didn't let us in play.
They didn't let us in, and we're not keen.
I wasn't that interested in playing a first-person shooter on console anyway.
No, it was
so
on console.
I didn't really even go over there and ask them if I could jump the queue. So
I forgot about that. It was on console as well. Yeah, we didn't play that. I'll tell you another game we didn't play, by the way, if anyone's listening out for it, just to get this out of the way. We didn't play Shadow of War. We didn't play Battlegrounds on the Xbox One X, even though it was actually on PC.
I spoke to the guy, he said, the PC unit's under the hood.
Even though it was in the Xbox One X section, so what the fuck is that about? And we didn't play Star Wars Battlefront 2. So if you guys are expecting that, we didn't. We wanted to, but the queues were just...
I asked for Shadow of War, and again, it was like, I've got to ask this person who isn't here right now. She's doing a meeting, so I just have to get confirmation because I'm just paid to stand here stopping you getting in. So I was like, okay.
So there was a lot of that. At the Xbox area, had a lot of queues. We didn't play Sea of Thieves either, which is one we were all...
We flat out no from that. We asked them.
Yeah, they were just like, nah. So the Xbox section weren't very accommodating towards the press at all, and there was a lot of...
Maybe they've seen our videos.
Yeah, a lot of queues. The PlayStation area, we seem to get in all right. So just saying.
Maybe they've seen
this is fact. This isn't interpretation.
That is genuinely.
It's not as being Sony fanboys. I asked to get in early, sit the queue on Detroit Become Human, and they were more than accommodating. They were like,
you met a robot. You've seen that before, I'm assuming. So tell me a bit more about Detroit Become Human, guys, because I want to know, but I didn't actually play it. Did anyone else other than you play it? No. What was it like?
It didn't let me down. Obviously, I did my impressions during the Saturday show, but it's this scenario where you're a detective. I can't remember the Connor. Right. And you work your way through this apartment picking up clues, but there's an ongoing hostage situation on the balcony. So you've got to find the clues and get some gather information that's going to help you during the scene at the end where you've got to discuss with the thing. But what was interesting about it is you come to like a dead body, for instance, and you investigate all the different parts of it, and then it gives you a timeline. Like Hannibal gets to rewind and play forward what happened. Yeah. It's exactly like that, where you play through exactly what transpired, and there's certain key moments that that are on the timeline. Like the yellow that indicate that there's a clue to be found, so you can pan the camera around this scene and try and find the clue that they're referring to, and obviously this is timed because there's an ongoing hostage situation. You've got like like 10 minutes to get through all these clues, go through all these Hannibal moments, and then get to the balcony.
That's cool.
At a certain point, you've got to go to the balcony no matter how many clues you've got, and so. You get to the balcony, and it turns out that I saved the hostage, and because there's more than 6 possible outcomes of this. Whether you die, you and the bad guy dies, whether all 3 of you die. There's so many different eventualities, and that's how they're pushing this game. I really enjoyed it, and the thing because it was an ongoing hostage situation, the tension and the music, it really carried it through, and it was really quite. Really tense, towards the end of it, and every single when you're talking with the hostage, what do you call him, the person who taken hostage, the android, every single choice that you make heightens that tension because you don't know whether it's going to add to your chances of winning or not. So I was totally immersed in it, and that's what I want. I want this immersive experience where the graphics and the visuals were awesome. They built this new engine for it. It was fully facial motion capture. It was brilliant. It's exactly what I wanted, and I'm really excited now to get my hands on the full game. Yeah,
it's out, I think, a little bit later next year, so that's pretty cool. I mean, I would like to have played it. I know there's a sort of a demo online you can watch, there's footage of the whole thing. Yeah. But I've been avoiding it because I want to play it myself. So, that was Detroit. Another game we played in the PlayStation area. I don't think you played this one, guys, but Monster Hunter. We all played that, and you certainly watched anyway. Monster Hunter World, so the sort of return to Sony, because Nintendo have had Monster Hunter for a while. Capcom are putting this one out. It's out in January, I think.
It's early next year.
Big screen Monster Hunter. And how is it? Well, pretty cool. Let's get that right.
One of your highlights, right? You were like touch and go whether you're going to feature it as
me, Liam, and Mike were all
discussing it,
almost going to put it as our choices, but we all thought the other people were going to put it as their choices, so we all picked something else. It was gorgeous. I mean, it looked really, really nice. I mean, it's one of those games, like I was saying earlier, where you plopped in out of no context, so lots of the strengths of Monster Hunter is learning what you're best with.
Yeah.
In this, you kind of just plonked in the game with this big sword, and it's like, go and kill this monster. In fact, I was killing a monster for fucking ages, and then the guy's like, oh, mate, that's the wrong monster. I'm like, oh, fuck.
The definition of I was killing a monster is a bit...
I was certainly attacking him.
You were involved in an altercation with a monster.
I was involved in an altercation with a monster. Who, by the way, if we're going to get into the nitty-gritty details of it, Michael, it was the expert... It was the...
Trigger now.
It was the expert boss.
That's right. So there was a beginner and an expert, wasn't there?
So the mission that I was in was like to find this beginner boss, but I'd found the footprints of another boss, and I thought that was the one I was fighting.
Yeah.
So I was just clacking him, and like it wasn't really doing much. Kind of, he was just like, get away. And then I thought I found the main monster. I've got to say, my problem with the last Monster Hunter I played, which was way back on PSP, there was about 5 monsters with different colour, skin, and then it was like, fight the raptor, fight the yellow raptor, fight the water raptor,
fight the bigger raptor.
Yeah, and it was like, but I mean, I saw a good. So far, I've seen a lot online, and I've got to play it now. I've seen a lot of monsters, and I've not seen one of them just like a reskinned monster. They've all been a fresh.
Did one of them look like a duck?
One of them did look a little bit like a duck. Yeah, had the beak. Yeah, had the bill, didn't it?
So. Yeah, it was more.
And you're welcome.
It's like an otter. I don't know. Anyway, so he was kind of unusual looking enough for me. That one that you're talking about. It was like, well, that's pretty imaginative. So that gave me, and that was the beginner, boss thing. So that was interesting, and that made me thought there would be some decent variety in it this time around. The weapons are still there, the huge oversized swords and whatever, and you got the flipping bow gun or whatever it's called.
Anime weapons, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's what excited me about it was the kind of co-op potential, because it was a single player demo. But I was thinking, having been played a lot of Destiny recently, and kind of getting loot and crafting stuff and whatever, and it's that kind of sense of being able to play a game co-op for a long time. That's what I thought was pretty exciting about it, and it's got a lot of potential, I think.
Note the word potential and sense of there, because that's one thing that was quite surprising, really. Quite a lot of these games, especially the co-op games at EGX, weren't like linked up so you could play co-op. So like Monster Hunter, we didn't get to jump in and play co-op, even though the game accommodates for that. Yeah. There was a couple of local co-op games that we played, and that went really well. And then we did play Battalion 1944 LAN, didn't we? We got to play against another team, so... We've kind of touched on Battalion 1944 on the channel earlier this week. We did an interview already, but for the record, we all played that, and that was pretty cool, wasn't it? We played it twice, actually. I think, didn't we? We
did on two separate occasions. The first time I didn't do too well. Second time I did better, but I think it was the opposite for one of you guys. And
for me as well.
You touched on before about Total War 2, Warhammer 2 being your smoothest experience. I think this was smooth
that ran really well.
It was absolutely beautiful. It was really well optimized, and I think that takeaway from me is, having been a Call of Duty 1, Call of Duty 2 player, that's what they're pitching as an old school shooter. It is exactly that. It is carbon copy. If you could transport my feelings and exactly what I remember Call of Duty 2 as into modern day with modern graphics and modern mechanics, I guess, it's exactly that. It's exactly what I wanted. It reminded me of the good old days, as it were, of Call of Duty, and I'm really excited to get in and play Search and Destroy. Because, how many games do that anymore? Like Counter-Strike does, but you don't have crouch or prone in Counter-Strike. But this, you do. You do your drop shots, as you said. Oh, people were drop shotting me, and I'm like, that was probably me, dude.
Yeah, fucking Dolphin died. Fucking Battlefield 2 boys were out in full force. I can tell you that much. But
if you're running on a battlefield and you've got no cover, you'll drop to the ground and you'll shoot. That's what I'm saying. If you can't do it in game, and you can't do it in a game, I'm very suspicious.
It's true. I mean, Search and Destroy, tactical modes were.
It was team deathmatch. So there was
no. Wanted to do. Yeah,
there was just a team deathmatch. So the footage that you saw during the interview. Video that we put out, that was just running around blasting, which you got to get used to the map and things, but a Search and Destroy will be totally different. You wouldn't get these spammers jumping and spraying or whatever. You'd get a more a cerebral kind of experience, where he talked about Joe Brammer talked about it in the interview, where every round counts. It's really it'll be more tense, and it'll be more better experience, I think, because that's what I'm looking out for, the Search and Destroy.
Yeah, I mean, so you could have denied there wasn't that many sort of but the PvP light moments. at EGX, but Battalion's kind of stuck out for a lot of people, I guess. And yeah, like it's kind of true to form, like what Gaz was saying. I was speaking to one of the devs briefly. He said that they've even kind of based the reload animations on the older games, like the M1 Garand, like reload animations and stuff. But I mean, yeah, it was cool. I like the variety of weapons and things like that. Yeah, like you're saying, it was a bit like aimless shooty for me because it was team deathmatch, but that's not.
It's that switch. You got to turn the corner. You've got a twitch shoot. You've got to get on target really quickly because you have very little time.
That's it. Yeah, too twitchy for my liking, but that's not the game. That's me. So, but I had a nice time for what it was. It was pretty good, and like you say, really well optimized, and it ran really well. So, any other points about Battalion 44? Or
the weapons. That's one of the things that I was looking forward to, is getting back to that. Those, the Kar 98, the Thompson, the Mosin-Nagant, all those, the Garand. It's just so many like awesome weapons that I remember, and each of them's got their own personality, and they're not like just like a little bit different from the other. Like they're all they
handle very differently.
They use them in such a different way, and I love that about that genre of World War II and those weapons, and it definitely recaptured my love for the genre. That's for sure.
I think most brutal shooter at EGX. This is a bit for meme boys. Cuphead, right? It was fucking well hard.
Yeah.
Let's get that out of the way.
Let's get Cuphead out of the way. Yeah,
Cuphead, right? Me and Gaz played co-op, and Mike and Liam played co-op. That game is fucking hard. Let's first of all say big shouts out to Dean Takahashi. We did do the tutorial, but
first thing we did, jump and then thing. It was pretty easy.
But I'm not gonna lie, right? When we did the tutorial and I got to that point, I was like, in my head thinking, don't fuck it up.
Exactly the same. Like I was don't be a knobhead now, Mike. Just read the words and do what the words say. And I did.
First time, it's not hard, but it's a really hard game. So Mike and Liam played a different level than me.
Yeah,
we played the first level,
rock hard,
and it's very, very unforgiving. It's like a lot of limitations that the SNES games had.
Yeah,
have been kept in on purpose.
Yeah,
but they weren't ever really by design. In the older games, they were kind of just by limitation. So for Cuphead to bring these back by design, it's kind of cool. I'll tell you this: the environment that we were in and like the way that we were on, like stools crouched up and there's people going past our heads, probably didn't help. But the fact that it remains, it was a very, very, very hard game. Cliff Blazinski said he made the fucking Dark Souls of shooters. Play Cuphead, Cliff. It's hard.
It's for me, right? I think there will be people that actually love it, that really, really like the non-forgiving nature
those
of it.
People that like Vindaloo's in it.
Oh, but it's just to give you a flavour of what was going on, right? The level that me and Liam tried to co-op was, and I tried to co-op. It's got gravity and like a gravity mechanic. So you're running along the bottom, but you need to flip the level upside down. So your character jumps on the roof, and then you're playing the game upside down. And you've got to jump between both levels. Meanwhile, there's like enemies, solid blocks of enemies that you can't dodge, coming at you on the top and the bottom tiers. So you've got to like fight and change gravity and all this stuff. And it's for them to put that as the demo at EGX is what makes me think that it's like, holy shit.
The problem with that was that you couldn't back away from an enemy and shoot at the same time. You had to shoot the way you were facing. So it was like run back, twitch forward, and then shoot, and then run back, twitch forward, and shoot, because they keep coming at you. And I think the standout for me, that Cuphead, is like it is an old school game. It is exactly that. We walked around the retro games section, had a little play on some of my old systems. That was awesome, by the way. But one game
consoles though, but he felt dirty and he was like, no,
I didn't feel dirty. I felt inaccurate because it's systems.
Right,
but the one game that I sat down and played, it was like, I remember this game. There's like bouncing balls, and you've got to shoot up. The only mechanic is you shoot up and the balls bounce. You've got to try and avoid them, and it was rock solid. And I was like, this is how games work. This is exactly how games work. Rock solid. And a Cuphead for me, it's just that. It's just like an old school game, exactly how they were.
So
ripped straight from the past.
Will love it. Some people will really like it.
You'll get your money's worth.
Not me,
That's the thing. They'll be like, even if there was 10 levels, it'll take you so long to do them. It'll feel like 100 levels.
Yeah.
That's how they did it back then as well, right? They're hard because you get your money's worth. I mean, all I'm saying, Liam actually made this point, so credit to him, but this will be mentioned in all the reviews, I reckon, the difficulty. I don't know if this is actually going to be like affecting the score of the game or something. I don't know. I don't think that's fair to do, really. But
it'll be like warning, will it?
It's so funny because it's Cuphead. Just like if you've not played it, I can't imagine how ridiculous this sounds. It's fucking hard. Like, yeah, it's brutal. But I'm looking forward to giving it another go in a calm environment at home and see what's different.
Focus and try and work out like exactly what you've got to do to get.
I'm sure there's a knack to it, and when you get that. So yeah, Cuphead was another game that I guess we kind of played co-op. Me and Liam also played Deadbeat Heroes. These guys didn't, so I'll keep this really brief. Square Enix Collective, whatever. It was kind of like a 3D, low poly Streets of Rage. Very simple. I think they're going to be bringing it to the Switch. A lot of fun. In fact, that was one of the highlights of the thing for both me and Liam. It was ace. Just you kind of play crappy superheroes that go around beating people up. Got like that Streets of Rage vibe. There's a punch button, a dodge button, and eventually a super move button, and that's it. But it's just a lot of fun, local co-op, and yeah. So if that comes out on the consoles or PC as well, other than the Switch, keep an eye out for that if you're into local co-op, because that's actually a lot of fun. So then we kind of all played Age of Empires. I don't think you did, Gareth.
No, I didn't. I watched. So.
All right. Well, I'll get onto a game you played in just a minute then.
No worries.
But Age of Empires Definitive Edition.
It's just Age of Empires, but it looks very nice.
Yeah,
it looks lovely. It looks very nice.
Exactly. Nothing really much.
When you say
add.
It's just Age of Empires, is it like, were you expecting more?
No, it's what I was hoping for. Do you know what I mean? It's exactly what.
It sounds like you were kind of disappointed.
Well, no. I just want to make it clear that it's not a remake. It's a complete. It is the original game, but it looks very very nice.
So you're playing it and you're like, it's like old mechanics and that.
They haven't changed. Yeah, exactly. They haven't changed how things work at all.
It's cool if you like that, but it's like bringing on the new one, and it was like that's how I left that game.
The demo was very combat focused. I don't know if we had the same demo, but the demo that I had was like you already had a town. You already had you didn't have a town centre. You didn't have any villagers. You couldn't build anything new. You could just like spam out military and just kind of wipe the map, and that's it was a combat demo. Do you know what I mean?
It was a combat demo when you had like unlimited resources.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was.
It was good, but it was just. I think it was there to show how pretty it is and how many soldiers units it can manage on the screen when you've got like loads of ships going in one direction and that sort of stuff.
And I wasn't allowed to over the shoulder film any footage for that.
Oh yeah.
That was the rules.
Yeah,
like, in case the official line was in case there's a bug or something that the screen goes blue or something. And
we
weren't missing out. Yeah, so there was that. Then let's talk about Absolver. Because
but we should say with Age of Empires, if you think it's if you're looking forward to Age of Empires remastered and you think it's it is exactly it's a good enough thing of that. I mean, I didn't know. I've heard about we heard about performance problems, but I didn't see anything. It ran perfectly for me. So if you're looking forward to more Age of Empires remastered, then it's coming.
Yeah, Absolver, guys, you sat down.
This is one that was interesting before going, because I realised that it released a couple of weeks before we went, and a lot of people were saying about the mechanics of the game, that it was a really decent fighter game, but it's online. There's a single player campaign to get you. It's like a tutorial level, I guess, to get you used to the mechanics of playing online. So it's an online fighting game, and it was just like. The graphic style is really interesting. The fight, it was really easy to pick up and start fighting people. And I really I was trying, I was enjoying what I played. But I only played like 20 minutes or so. But my very first impression was, I could really get into this as a fighting game. It seemed really deep. There was a lot to it. There was a bar on the bottom where you had to time your hits, and there was like a stamina as well, so you can't just spam it. You can't just spam roll out the way like you can in, say, Horizon, for instance. But it's a lock-on mechanic where you've got maybe multiple enemies. There was a lot to it. It was a very in-depth fighting game.
What are the graphics like? Because they look cool in the trailers, but
they were really. I was impressed. Yeah,
I didn't know if
it's got a certain style, hasn't it? It's got that graphic style. So
stylistically, it looks really cool. So that's nice. Yeah, I
enjoyed it, but I didn't get hands up on it enough to be able to pick it apart as to what the problems were with it. But my first impressions was it was a very playable game.
No, that's nice. Yeah. Speaking of games that kind of came out a while ago, but a lot of people had fun with anyway. You, Mike, says to me, I don't know if this is still ringing true now, the most immersed you were there, because there's a lot of noise going on as well.
Yeah,
like
right.
People walking like right past you when you're playing a game, and it can be quite distracting. So, but you said the most immersed at the time anyway was the Turing Test.
Yeah.
Does that still ring true?
Yeah, definitely. And that's been out a while, but it was...
These are the guys who make Battalion, right?
Yes, it's the same group of it's a publisher or whatever. But
right.
It's I don't know. It might be the same developer.
Yeah, I think it is the same developer. I think it's that Joe Brammer who worked on that.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was exactly my cup of tea, though. I think that's what it is. You're playing as a character out in space, and so there you go. That's an automatic win for me. But it's musically it was very well designed, and it sounded terrific. And I think that's kind of what really cemented it for me as being so immersive. But it's basically like a Portal, puzzler type game. So there's a very basic mechanic of using electrical orbs to open and close doors. So you can magnetize them from a distance and stuff like that. And a very very straightforward puzzler that gets progressively more. Difficult as you'd hope, as you'd expect from any puzzler. But the setting was cool, and there's a bit of a walking sim involved in there. You're walking through like frosty environments on like the moon of one of the moons of Jupiter or something like that. I don't know. I just really loved it, and I liked how. I liked the musicality of it, and it looked very very nice to me. And the fact that it's been out a while meant nothing to me. I just enjoyed it more than most other stuff. So.
It seemed like one of those games that would lend really well to VR.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. Because mechanically it would work fine with VR, and just having that kind of story experience in VR would be terrific, I think.
Cool. So Turing Test looked like a walking sim, but don't call it a walking sim. They're calling them immersion sims, right? Incorrectly, we reckon. But I played one, Late Ridden, by Midnight Hub, who are like ex-developers of Paradox and Mojang. I actually interviewed the creative director, who was the lead designer, lead artist, lead story writer. And it's really good. So more on that later on, but it was kind of played out a bit like The Witness or The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. Your sister's missing in the woods, use ghosts to help them find it. More on that later, because I want to talk about something I actually didn't play at all, but this is like pretty good gaming hubbub around it, and it's The Occupation. All right, I didn't play it at all, but you guys were obviously quite keen on the game. You were there quite a lot. You played it. You interviewed the guys as well.
Yeah, the first thing before we jump into the game itself, we were just strolling by, and this guy comes up to us. He's like, "Oh, I've seen your videos," and it's like, yeah, pretty good game. So he recognised us, and it turns out it was one of the devs, NJ, one of the devs from the game. Right. And it was so cool of him. It was like, we watched your video. So it was instantly, I like this guy. He's nice to us. I like him. And then, by the way, I've got this game. And it's a big stand. There was like 5 or 6 different units.
Yeah, there are 5 units, and then one that they were working on, which also had it running from inside the engine and stuff, which is what I had to go on. So I had to go on a build that was more recent than the one that they were demoing to most people, and they were having some problems with it. So I didn't get all the way through to the end, but it was immersive sims, right? So this is what Jake was just talking about. So this is like it comes from like Deus Ex and Thief and those kind of games. So you'd say like Dishonored or something more recently, they just call them immersive sims, right? Except this is that, but without like murdering and stuff in it, which there's no weapons in it that I saw. It's just like espionage. So you're playing as like a journalist or something in this kind of dystopian version of the 80s in the UK. So you've got like investigating to do. You're sneaking into places, getting onto computers, and you like it's got this great like physicality to it. So there's no inventories or anything. You're carrying a briefcase around. You're opening stuff like manually. You get an envelope pushed through the door. You gotta like turn it round, open the envelope, get the thing out of it, put the thing in a computer, and all that is kind of manually done. I'm imagining it's going to be quite a short game, like a 3-4 hour game or something like that.
It's 6 hours, they said, but between 4 and 6 hours.
So not it's not going to be like on the scale of Dishonored or whatever, but it's got that kind of essence of finding a way through a level to solve the thing you're trying to solve. And they also said it all happens in real time, so you can miss meetings, you can miss encounters with characters and stuff if they leave the area. You can miss things, which I think is really interesting, and that lends itself to replayability, I think.
was just about to say, even though if a dev says the game's 6 hours, it's 4 hours. But still, whatever, that aside, like the fact that it's going to have open ends. You can replay it. If I see a game, I'll play a Telltale game again, and that's normally ends up the same anyway. But because of the choices, Hitman, I used to play Hitman loads when I was younger because you can play it over and over again, right? So
yeah, I mean, my experience of it, I was talking to the dev for quite a while, and the way that he spoke about it just seemed like such a unique premise and like it's something new to the industry. You don't see a lot of these types of games where it's all real time, right? And it's like a story that will just happen around you if you just do nothing. And he said, obviously there's objectives to do. There's two different people who were trying to pass this bill or quash this bill to do with some sort of government legislation like that.
Yeah, it's a pretty political story, actually. I think that's pretty interesting.
Thinking about it like that, you've got something you want to try and achieve, so you can go to a meeting, try and discuss it with people. You can get to areas by sneaking in through the walls, or you can get there in a lift, or there's different ways that you can achieve the same thing, right? And depending on how the world is happening around you, it affects the way that you approach it. So my experience was, I got into the building and I walked past a janitor who was just going to the toilet or something. He left his cart. Yeah. And then I came to a lift, and I got in the lift, and with my security card, I can only get to floor number 2. And I'm thinking, if that guy's left his cart, this is why it's great. See, I'm thinking, if that guy's left his cart, did he leave his pass with him? So can I go to the cart, try and take his pass, and could I get to another floor and try and get to some bit of information that I might not have otherwise? And it's not the fact that I could actually do that, it's the fact that I'm thinking, can I do that?
Yeah, it doesn't tell you that it's an option. You just kind of...
But that it lends itself to like investigate it. Can you do it or can't you? It's up to you to try and find that out.
I love it when games don't tell me what to do, and I love it when games just don't give me like map markers and don't give me like writing on the screen saying go to the cart and see if he's left his, you know what I mean? I'd much prefer exactly what you said, that experience of like figuring stuff out on my own. And I think it's a really well designed little game so far, and I'm really looking forward to playing more. And it's an interesting setting, interesting premise.
Right, there we go. The occupation, it does sound pretty interesting.
Yeah,
we've only got a couple more left to go through, guys, and then we'll get on with our regular viewing. But we've got some big ones to come, so let's just get this one out of the way first. I've got 2 I want to talk about real quick. Sonic Forces. Yeah, it was all right. I played the boss battle like a classic Sonic mode, sideways, side-scrolling thing. I mean, yeah. That's all I've got to say.
Solid review, though, dude. Solid review.
There we go. Right, yeah, that's it. Sonic Forces. Everyone, Liam got a T-shirt. Thanks, Sega. Yeah. You got anything to add? You also played it.
It was, you know what? It ran pretty nicely. It was a bit more fun than I used to have playing Sonic, because I never was
playing it on the Switch version.
Yeah, bit of context. So you guys played the original Sonics? Were you fans?
No,
you didn't. I did, but
I played the original Sonics. I played Sonic Adventure Battle 2, which is like the pinnacle of 3D Sonic, like when it's not sideways as well, and I enjoyed that.
Oh, did you play old school Sonic or 2D?
Yeah, like Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. My first console, I think, was the Sega Master System 2, and it had Sonic built into it. I always remember being...
Did you like it? Did you enjoy playing Sonic? Did you play it through?
Yeah. I really enjoyed it.
But your experience with this new game is like meh.
Well, yeah, but it's like how a lot of people feel about 2D games. Like, whenever I tell people I like indie games or 2D games, especially like people in Discord, like people like Cropper and stuff like that, people like you will say, I feel like I'm past that in my life. Right. And I don't normally get out of 2D games. But with Sonic, I feel like...
There was no nostalgia there carrying you through?
No, Sonic could be the best Sonic ever, this new one, and I'd still be like, eh. But it has like... this weird thing where it's kind of trying to do the old Sonic where it's sideways, even though it's 3D, just the camera turns to the side. But then there's parts where the camera's right behind Sonic and you're going forward, and there's jumping and platforming, and that's a bit more like, I don't want to say like battle intensive, but you're not going really fast as much as... Yeah, so that kind of reminds me of like the GameCube era of Sonic.
You play games like Shovel Knight, which is 2D, but you don't feel the same like that. It's a bit like, I'm over it.
Exactly, yeah, that's the thing.
There's more mechanics to that.
Maybe Sonic Mania would be more my thing, if it's because that's like 2D looking as well. The fact that this looks new, but it's got an old style. It just kind of makes me feel like it's kind of dated more than the retro ones, because that's supposed to be like that. Aesthetically, it fits. So yeah, Sonic Forces was just a firm meh from me, and that kind of is like, I don't know, but I'm not the best person to say it. I'm not saying everyone's going to feel like that. It looks like pretty cool mix of old school Sonic and like that Sonic Adventure Battle 2 shit. So yeah, Liam said it looked pretty good as well. Like, he's not played the earlier Sonics. That's the thing. Like, he didn't play the earlier ones, so I don't know. Sonic, it was a meh from me.
Solid meh.
A solid meh. So we did that. The last game that we all played together, like actually together, we played 4-player actually, was this game by Good Catch Games called Black and White Bushido, and we hadn't heard of it either. It was like a sort of game where you were either light or dark samurai. And it was 2D, and it was like a brawler game, kind of like Duck Game or a Super Smash Bros or something like that. You know, like you were basically light or dark. The map has light areas and dark areas, which you could use for your advantage. You could press a button and you could disappear into the shadows, so you were essentially invisible.
You just kind of faded as well if you stopped moving. You just kind of, you could just go there and...
Yeah, you can not move, or you could basically like a chameleon. And you could play it like team deathmatch, or there was like an objective mode.
Capture the flag, right? Where you can, with the level would change based on how many flags you get, and they'd appear randomly, so you could take over the whole level. So the more of the level that you've got, the more places you've got to hide.
Yeah, exactly. So like, at one point the whole map was like dark. So if you were like a dark Bushido, you could just you had like an advantage. It was cool. I mean, they had some issues with it when we were playing it with the AI. Like the robot wasn't there. Like we had AI. We wanted to play 4-player co-op maybe against robots, but it didn't work. I say robots, but I mean AI.
That would be so hectic, though, because it was bad enough trying to keep track of you and one other teammate. But if you've got 3 other teammates and you're trying to figure out which one of the guys you are, that would be hectic.
Because you can go invisible on the game, I guess they don't want to have like player 1 right above your head, because then you're still going to know where the person is. So you have to kind of remember what your character looks like. They try and balance that by like, one of you has a sword, one of you has a giant hammer, one has
there's a few classes you can
choose. So there's different
I thought it was
style. It was good. It was like if you were like in a battle, 2-on-2 battle, and you were all close together, it took you like a second to try and remember, oh, okay, there I am, like trying to find yourself. But it was fun. It was very fast paced. It was quite a laugh. Me and Liam played it together, and then you guys jumped in afterwards and we played 4-player, and I had a lot of fun with it.
I didn't have a great time with that, and the reason why was that it didn't feel responsive to me, because there was a limit on spamming the attack button.
You can't spam.
Yeah, there was a limit.
I liked that.
So I didn't feel it was responding. So I was like, I wanted to attack, but because I've done 2 attacks in the last 5 seconds, I'm not allowed to attack.
I thought it was cool because you said it was like Smash Brothers, but it's kind of one hit and you're dead, right? And that's what I liked about it. And it was like you choose when to attack, and if you both attack at the same time, your swords meet and you bounce back off each other.
So if you spammed, your swords would be like I'm doing the finger animations, but just in case you don't know what a sword is,
he's doing a good job.
Your swords would just be smashing together.
But you slide apart, so it's like this anime-ish kind of effect of combat. And if you do kind of move forward and kill someone, you kind of slide through them. And it's quite stylishly done. Like the sword, you hold your sword.
It's similar to Nidhogg. Really cool. If anyone's played Nidhogg, Nidhogg 2, you can't spam, but like you're saying, that kind of makes you think. Like,
you choose when to do it.
Sometimes you have the perfect opportunity to kill someone, and you press the button, and it really doesn't work. And there's times when that happens.
I just felt it could be a little bit more balanced to give me a bit more chance to not get owned, because I was getting owned.
So that's it. So guys got owned at Bushido. I think you actually won 1 game and lost 1. So you didn't fare too badly. You did all right, didn't you? But maybe you could have done better if you could have attacked faster. Who knows? Okay. I've been kind of saving the big games till last. So I'm going to have to get rid of Ni no Kuni. I played Ni no Kuni. Mike played Ni no Kuni. Liam played Ni no Kuni. We all loved it.
I played Ni no Kuni.
Oh yeah, you
played the tactical mode. Yeah,
you played the troop mode. Yeah, of course you did.
Mode thing. That was cool.
Right. Okay. So, Gaz, you go first, because I don't know if you loved it or not yet.
I've no experience with Studio Ghibli games. Or Ni no Kuni, because this isn't a thing, but it's kind of style, there's that connection anyway. But I've never played it before, never tried it before. It was quite fun. It was easy. That was my main takeaway. It was just easy. It was just like a kid could play this and have fun. It's not really for me. There's not really much here for me to achieve, because like I say, you just walk through the level and it's easy. So it was quite cool. You got these specials that you could use. It was like there's two groups of troops that were circling me, right? There was the melee and there was the ranged troops, and I could rotate them around my body, whichever way I wanted, and then we could attack as a group.
Yeah.
Like various enemies. So I've got strikes that I can do, like and things like that. But like I said, that you know, it was fun, it was enjoyable, but a bit too young for me, I think.
I absolutely loved it, and I wasn't expecting to. I just, you know, I played through two of they give you 4 different scenarios.
Yeah, I didn't. Just point out that I didn't play that game type.
You played the strategy kind of bit, which is interesting. What I'm interested in is how that kind of fits around. I never played the first one. I have no experience of the series or anything, so I'd be interested to know if the strategy element is a big part of it, or is that like just a little mini distraction thing that happens every once in a while, or what?
It's part of the story, I think, because you're the king, so you're leading an army, so there's overworld parts where you have to like overthrow bits and things like that.
I don't know, I just really enjoyed it. I mean, I thought Evan was a girl for the longest time until Liam said no, his name is Evan. He's a boy.
So aside from the troop mode, which is kind of like Overlord or Pikmin or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
There's this other battle mode, which isn't
more traditional, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it certainly was. In the first game, you had cooldowns, it kind of made it turn-based, but now it's like Final Fantasy 15 or the Kingdom Hearts that's coming out. It's like real time. So I guess to add like more of a strategy element, they've got in that other mode or whatever. But like Gaz said, it kind of, you didn't really need strategy. You could have just waltzed through. So I don't know if that was purposely to make it accessible for the gamers of any age that were there.
I could see how it would be interesting. That's the thing with it. I could see how they could add stuff and add obstacles and things and different combinations of enemies to overcome for it to be interesting, because it gave you the bare essentials, and one of the tooltips was like, hammer beats sword, sword beats spear, spear beats hammer. So that those essential breadcrumbs are there. Like, it just needs to
Baby's
put
first
together.
Total War, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was bloody good though. It's actually the highlight of the whole thing for me. It was really good. I played it loads. And yeah, it was very endearing. So moving swiftly on then, we'll just quickly touch on Mario Odyssey, which is quite apt really, because that's what it felt like. I felt like I was on it for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, it was a very brief time we had with it.
We were watching people playing the demo and it felt like they had like 20 minutes and then I felt like we had like 10. But yeah, it was Mario Odyssey. You could pick to go to New Donk City, which is like the sort of one of the hub worlds. And you could go to this like lava place, but we all went to New Donk City.
Yeah,
it was good. I mean, the controls were kind of awkward for me. I don't think I necessarily like suffer with like the Joy-Con normally. I played Zelda fine and stuff, and Sonic was on the Switch that I played, but yeah, I kind of found the controls really awkward. The platform,
specifically the movement controls, the actual directional movement of Mario was just a bit off, and I don't know if it's because we had the two kind of freehand Joy-Con things, so it makes it, it just makes it a little bit harder to actually direct Mario the way you want.
Your movement, because you're holding them like the Wii remotes or something, isn't it? But yeah, I'm glad. I actually hadn't spoken about this before, right? But I felt like it was really off the platforming.
I definitely felt that.
Yeah, it could have been better. There were some pretty cool moments, but the thing was, I kind of felt like it I don't know, like this sense of, oh my god, my time's going to run out any second now. So I don't know, I didn't have time to unwind and enjoy it. What I did play was really fun, but it was kind of a couple of things like that, like the controls were awkward, and like I felt like my time was going to run out, and like the Nintendo rep kept talking to me about really mundane stuff. It was like, so have you played the Mario game before? I'm like, bitch, I'm 26. Of course I played the Mario game before. It's like, do you come here often? Then you guys had this really helpful dude, but I had like, because she was obviously paid to be there. She looked like she's, I don't know. I don't think she'd played the Mario game before. Maybe that's why she was asking. She was looking for more. Who knows? She could be the fucking best Mario player in the world. I don't know. I don't mean to judge, but she kept fucking. You know, like when you're in a taxi. I know this isn't a 30-second throwdown yet. We know sometimes you just don't want to fucking talk. I was trying to play Mario. I felt like the pressure at the time. She was asking me questions. You guys had a really helpful dude who was like teaching you tips how to play.
Yeah.
How was that?
He was like he gave us one tip, to be honest. Like, it was a very fucking brief demo, like. But it was cool. It was cool. It was. I think if you're a Mario fan, this is exactly what you're going to get. Like, it's what you're expecting is what I think. I mean, it had that kind of thing of like, oh, what's this over here? I'll move this manhole cover. Oh, well, you know, there's a whole puzzle thing down there. It's a very interactive world. There's a lot of stuff to little nooks and crannies to go and explore. You're searching for these half moon things, which are like, you know, stars from Mario 64, I guess, but a bit less special because there's a lot more of them.
Yeah.
And you're just looking for those all over the place. So it's kind of this huge collectathon thing. But all the puzzles and all of the different things you can do, I thought were interesting enough. And the throwing the hat thing is such a basic little addition to the Mario formula. But it's wicked. It's really cool.
Works out well. It's like Mario Sunshine vibes. It's cool. I thought the camera placement was pretty awkward as well, by the way. It kind of awkwardly above him. I don't know. But yeah, minor things. It was a lot of fun, and I can see this as a serious contender for Game of the Year for a lot of people. Guys, we played.
Liam played it, right? And just to balance out your criticisms, from what I spoke to him and the thing that I did for the Saturday show, he said he enjoyed every single moment of it. The controlling was tight.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's a big. He's played Nintendo Switch. He's got one, so he felt he didn't have any criticisms at all for it. He really liked it. I just wanted to throw that in there just to balance out what you guys said and to represent Liam, because Liam's not here, so he can't say that.
No, I haven't got criticisms. The only thing was for me was the control, and that was because it was on the Joy-Cons.
I think it was. Yeah, that's the thing. But yeah, I mean, it was really decent, to be fair.
Yeah.
Anyway, says that Gaz played Skyrim while we were playing Destiny.
Skyrim VR.
Yeah, tell us.
Not just the regular, not just the microwave or whatever versions they're bringing out next.
Yeah, so
the actual VR Skyrim.
On the PlayStation VR, right? First of all,
PSVR. Yeah, I first experienced playing PSVR. So impressions of that. Yeah, it was great. It was light. You know,
that's what everyone says.
It was light. It was brilliant. Although I could see underneath, it wasn't quite on properly. But I don't know. But the controllers, they were disappointing.
So hang on. So you're using a normal controller?
No, the motion things.
The
you know, the ice cream things. Yeah, they're so bad. They're light. They're like plasticky. You could throw them. Whereas on the HTC Vive, they're bulky things, and they feel like a proper, like they're weighted properly. Okay. They're heavy, but they're weighted properly because of the circles on the front, and they are very responsive. PSVR works differently. You don't have two cameras around you. You've just got the camera in front of you, so it's only tracking. So if you turn around, it's completely lost you, and you just lost you. Anyway, about the game itself, it was basically that's it. It was limited because of the hardware, I think. And playing the game, it was a mixture of really good and really bad, and that the epitome of that was you fire from your left hand, and that was awesome, right? People come towards you, and it was almost overpowered. You could just stand there as they come towards you and take them out. And on the other hand, you got a sword, and that was so unresponsive. Like I'm used to the HTC Vive where it tracks everything really tight. Now I don't know if it was the lighting. The woman next to me said it was probably the lighting. I didn't use it at all because my hand was not represented at all. And it was like to the side, and it'd like jump and things. It's like it really wasn't tracking well.
You get what you pay for, don't you? That's the thing. If you're paying a lot more for a Vive, then that's why, to get the proper experience.
So I wasn't swinging my sword at all because it would just like jump and clunk. And it reminds me how the Wii was originally, with the nunchucks and that. It just wasn't really that responsive. And
the controllers that you use for PSVR are the PlayStation Move controls, which were made around the same time as the Wii. So that technology is really dated, and so it seems to really be showing them.
So I did enjoy it though. It's the teleporting movement scheme that people have criticised for, saying it was wrong. That's how you move in VR. Like I mean, they will have the flowing moving when it releases, but that will only be on the controller itself, which you don't want to play VR with a controller like this. You want your hands to be represented. Anyway, that aside, I think the movement was fine for VR. That's how you do it. I would obviously like the choice for people to be able to move with a pad on your thumb with your hands still in the game. That would be ideal. But when there was a side night to start, there was a big dragon there. It was awesome. Went into the mountain and went through some of the caves. Skeletons jumping out on you. I was fireballing them. It was very fun. But I didn't enjoy it as much as I could because I was just using my fireball. I tried. You could change the weapons to a bow and arrow, and that just like wasn't doing it. Yeah. They said it was the lighting. Yeah. But if the lighting is that, it was reasonable. It was too bright, and it was quite a dark room. I'm thinking, well, how the hell is that? How does that work? If it's limited to that, and the fact that when I turned around, it was gone. I'm like, I don't really want. I was interested to see whether I would like to buy the PSVR just to experience it and play it. Yeah. But having played that, I'm thinking no. I wouldn't. Right. I'm still interested in Skyrim, but only if it ever comes out on the HTC Vive.
Yeah, that's decent. So yeah, that was like the queues were pretty big for that. So you were the only person that got to really play Skyrim VR. And,
you had to queue to get on the list to be able to come back and queue later. So it was very weird the way that they did it. Yeah.
I mean, I know, like, our international fans think that British people queue a lot. There we are.
We do. We love to queue.
So here's a game that we played on the first day, and me and Liam went and played it again on Sunday. It was Far Cry 5, which had another game, big queue, big presence there. A lot of people were quite anticipating this one, right? So Far Cry 5, set in like kind of backwoods America, kind of caused a lot of controversy about that. It's not in an exotic location. There's no like spirit animals. It's just kind of you playing a game. We played it on the Thursday, didn't we, guys? Shall we just get into it?
Yeah,
it wasn't running well.
It ran like shite, but they seemed to think that was a problem, right? And then you guys went back, and how did it run then? Was it all right?
Still, the gun was unresponsive. Like you'd shoot people, and it wouldn't. I was not missing
input lag, basically. Yeah. I mean, how is that? How you've got a PlayStation 4 right in front of you, or whatever it was running on. Like how can that cause lag? Like I don't know if it was plugged into one big system or something, and it was just playing separately. There's no reason why it should have done that. But
we don't know what's going on under the hood in these places. That's the only thing I got to say in their defence. But other than that, it was like horrendous. Like Battalion was the best running FPS I played there, having played Destiny, because Destiny was running like trash there as well. But I know the Destiny runs well at home, like it runs fine normally. So you don't know what's going on. But Far Cry was really bad. It really took away from the experience that it was trying to get. As a game, I think it's got. I'm still pretty excited about it. I think it's got a lot of potential. I mean, I didn't realise what was going on for a little while because I just came over the crest of a hill. It's a church. The church is like a camp, like it's like Attack of the Church. It's what?
That's your bandit camp. Sort of
that's your bandit camp. Yeah, exactly. So I didn't even really register what was going on properly. It was a nice kind of going around this little rural town. You could go into a lot of the buildings and stuff like that, and the vehicles were cool and whatnot. You're driving a truck, like a big, like 18-wheeler type rig or whatever. You can, it's everything you'd kind of expect to be able to do in it. A Far Cry game in that kind of setting. You also got a companion, which was interesting. You had like an AI-controlled ally, so it was like a dog or a
sniper.
Soldier. Yeah, exactly.
Or a soldier.
I thought it was cool. It just ran like horseshit. So
what did you think of it, guys?
Well, this is my. I'd rather pose it as a question and give my impression. But do you think that it was different enough? Because the town this is it's different. Like it's a different. Okay. There's no towers in it to unlock areas. You explore as you go now, and so that's what's different. And this is what we're looking for from games like Far Cry, like a different kind of version. But was it different enough to leave you thinking, this isn't Far Cry? This is they've changed enough of this to get me interested.
I think if you're a fan of Far Cry and you're starting to get a bit tired, this will still be good for you. This will still be interesting. However, if you've completely fallen off of Far Cry and you're totally like, Far Cry shite, I don't like the setup, this isn't going to like change your mind.
I don't know, man. I love Far Cry. I played them all. I even played Primal. This is the least interesting one for me by far.
Well, there you go.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because you don't realise how much Far Cry relies on like its exotic themes. So when you're playing just like a house, a church, a man with a beard and a baseball bat, it was boring. It bored me. The world was kind of just a bit more generic than normal. You got what I mean is, when I said generic, sorry, should I just make this clear? The thing with these exotic locations or this primal, these gimmicks, it makes you feel like it's not as generic. They don't have the towers and all that, no, but this time they've just got like fields and just these run-of-the-mill houses and cars and red barrels.
You've seen that kind of locale so often.
I've seen it before. It killed the hype. I was looking forward to this a lot. I love doing Far Cry games, and This is by far the least interested I've been in a Far Cry game in the series, and it's different, and that's weird, isn't it?
I was interested in it because of that setting, because it's like a familiar setting. I was thinking, you walk into a house and you've got like pots and pans there, you've got microwaves, and I'm thinking, this kind of reminds me of a Fallout game where it's like a bit like that kind of version, or a different version of reality or whatever. But it just felt like a Far Cry game to me. It's like the bandit camp things which Mike really enjoys. I really don't. So coming down a hill, there's a big group of guys there. I need to find out how to infiltrate them and kill them all. I generally just start shooting. As soon as I start shooting, they come at me and I'm overwhelmed. I'm running for cover, trying to work out how things work, and that's not me. That's not my kind of game. And for me, it's not different enough. As soon as you kill them, right, you go into a building, you talk to the bar lady or whatever, and she's like telling you about the world, and like, I'm your friend, and like you get this achievement on the screen. And it's so familiar to me, having played Far Cry 4, that I'm just not interested in getting it.
Yeah, I mean, I got to play on the plane, right? You infiltrate the church. Next bit is you go on a plane, you get a bomber, but it's got machine guns on it, so you can do bombing runs on these static places. Like there's like silos, I think, and you bomb them. And then there's a convoy, and you destroy that, and then you have like a dogfight with a plane. And I mean, that was kind of cool, I guess, but it's just something about it. It's just too generic for me, because like it's not different. The gameplay is not different enough. Like you're saying there, it's too similar. But now it's got a familiar setting as well. So actually, the biggest disappointment of the whole thing for me was Far Cry 5, and I played it twice, so it was not just down to performance. So there's two big Ubisoft ones left, I think. Let's talk about this one first, and we'll end on Assassin's Creed. South Park: The Stick of Truth. We played. I've wrote 3 lines here, Gaz, and then I think you can do the rest. 1, really funny. 2, crafting, puzzles, battles, all good. 3, twerking on an adult dick as a kid. Do you want to elaborate on what that meant?
Right. I was this controversy surrounding this game going in, and I knew that, and people, lap dancing a grown man, you hear that and you think, it shouldn't be that bad. I've got a sense of humour. Right. So you jump into it, and initially the thing that hits you is like, it's funny. There's a guy taking a piss in the bathroom, and you're walking around and you're farting, you're throwing crackers and shit like that, and the dialogue is really funny, and I was enjoying it. It was a fun experience, So I get to this scene where I'm now a child gyrating on an adult's groin area, and I'm thinking, this suddenly got very, very weird for me, and I don't know what it is. Whether it's because I've got kids, or whether it's kind of. I
think it's just the pure, simple fact that it was a kid gyrating on an adult.
The problem with it was, the problem was exactly. It's a quick time event, and you're there for like 5 or 10 minutes, trying to finish this event, which is you literally. And the guy even says, so I don't know how this is coming across on camera, but it's different when you're playing it. The guy even says, I'm losing my boner now.
So and
it's funny. It is funny.
Careful of plot spoilers.
It is funny. It is funny. It is funny. I grant that, but there's just a part of it that's like, no, this is wrong. Like, this is weird. I was uncomfortable playing it, and I've got a sense of humour. Everyone knows I've got a sense of humour, but for me, I think it crossed the line. I think it does. It definitely crosses the line.
Just for full context, right? The purpose of this is you give a private lap dance to these men. Your superpower is farting. And they have erections, and you have to fart on their erections, so they lose their erection.
You've got to circle the thing, so his arse goes round, and you've got to do something else with, and it's like, what am I doing?
Then they get annoyed because you fart on them so much. So then guess what they do? They try and batter you. So
that's where it got interesting.
So there's men's erections, and then the men try and batter the kids.
The turn-based strategy aspect. As soon as that scene was over, thankfully, it turned into a turn-based strategy game, which had depth to it, and it had strategy behind it.
It was the best.
It's such a good game, but
it's going to push it further than that, isn't it?
I will get it, and I will probably enjoy it. But there's something about that scene that was like, it's crossed the line.
It was.
I can deal with it. I will get over it. But
upset people, man. It was. There's like so. I mean, gameplay wise, I've got like that rhythm game, let's call it. And then you've got the fighting style, which is like turn based you move and you've got certain points. Kind of reminded me of like XCOM or Divinity Original
Action
2.
points,
yeah. And then, you know, you got all these powers. It's very, very well crafted. Everything's well implemented. Everything's there for a reason. Like, you know, your moves seem to fit your character. And then you've got like a part where you have to go around and
it's like the RPG element to it too. You get
did you guys play Stick
currency?
of Truth?
No.
It was wicked. It was exactly what you're saying that you like about this one. That's what's in Stick of Truth. Stick of Truth is a very good, very fun, very funny game with designed in part at least by Obsidian. I mean, there's nothing.
Yeah.
I mean,
there was a lot. The game itself, and I don't really feel comfortable using this word after the subject matter, but it was tight. So that's South Park. That's South Park. So it looked really good, and
the thing for me was before you move on is that it's a fully fleshed out game in a world that you're familiar with and you're instantly invested with because of it. You can jump in it straight away and you're like, yes, I want to do. I understand what I'm doing, and you're invested straight away. And I was really excited to play more.
It pulls you along. It's weird. The story shouldn't be thrilling you, but it is. And it's like you're saying, it's a familiar world, but it doesn't feel like phoned in. It doesn't feel like references for reference's sake. It feels like you're in that world.
It's exactly what was good about the first one. Yeah. Just so FYI, like a few people were referring to the first one as potential Game of the Year contender. Like when that came, because it was a proper good RPG. You know, like a fun, light kind of RPG.
So I am interested. I wasn't interested in this game in the slightest. Yeah. Now I am.
It's the kind of thing though. If you hate South Park, there's nothing here for you. But if you even vaguely have watched a bit of it,
like me,
then you'll get some entertainment. And if you're a big fan of the show, then you'll absolutely love it.
I think to sum it up for me, even though there was that scene that I felt uncomfortable playing, I'm still more than excited of playing.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, there might be people out there that want to do that.
Do you know what I fucking love though? They put that as the demo.
That's it. Yeah. How much worse is it going to get? How much worse is it going to get? So does that. So let's end it on the last game we played Assassin's Creed Origins. Massive queues for this game all weekend. It's an 18, so there was like an ID policy and everything. There was kids getting turned away after queuing for hours.
I had zero interest for this, and I came away pleased and impressed.
Yeah, so you guys played the PC build. Me and Liam played the Xbox One X build.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, like kind of what you just said. Then I don't really have anything else to add. I didn't really care about Assassin's Creed after the first game, and that's bad, isn't it? I played the second one. I didn't like it. I know it's unpopular opinion, guys, but whatever. It's just my opinion. Then Black Flag was cool, really fucking good. Should have called it something else. I bought Syndicate for like £6 recently, about 6 months ago. Whatever. It was decent, but whatever. This game, it's got like a lot of differences. In terms of the setting, it kind of felt fresh to me. Like
it is a bit of a redesign. The combat system is totally different. Like they use R1 and R2. So it's. I think it was Liam said Dark Souls, but I thought it was more like Horizon because it's just it's a lot. You know, it's like. It's exactly that kind of feel of combat where you're kind of bashing stuff. Dodging and bashing stuff. And then it's dying rather than being like locked on and magnetized like you are, you know, in the older Assassin's Creed, which is a bit more like the Batman Arkham combat style where you're bouncing from one enemy to the other. This one is like, more like Horizon or you know, Dark Souls are an absolute push, but for the pure fact that the controls are R1 and R2, then totally.
I mean, game ran smooth when I was playing it. I was trying to like jump at awkward angles with the parkour button held down to see if I could like kind of get anything out of it, break it. Nah, it ran really well. It held up to me trying to like mess with it. I did the quest quite early on. I just kind of rushed through it. They've got like the fucking Ubisoft drone trademark. You know, like that thing where every game now you've got to have a fucking drone. This time you've got an eagle and it can just full on hover and stay still, and it becomes like a CCTV camera. You can hold this button down and then the eagle just stops still. And then you can use it for loads of different things. You can actually level it up to attack and everything.
I tried to break it a little bit as well by kind of trying to assassinate someone before I was supposed to assassinate them.
Yeah.
Ended up with 3 arrows in the back of their head while I was talking to them in a cutscene. So it was like, you know, it's still very rigid. It's still proper like AAA Ubisoft. You'll have fun in the order that we tell you you're going to have fun.
Yeah.
But other than that, I thought it was a really good kind of evolution, and that you can tell they've had a year off, and you can tell that they've at least heard people saying whether or not it's in a focus group or not, that they want the game to change, and they have changed some things in it. It still looks like Assassin's Creed. It still is Assassin's Creed, but they made some pretty important changes.
Yeah, for me, it was my impression. It was just too generic. It's still generic. It's an open world game, but if you like that, then it's more of the same.
Yeah, exactly.
All they've done is change the visuals. Everything else is the same.
And the combat.
Right? The combat is
the combat is improved. I did enjoy the combat, but that's only a very small amount of what you're doing in the game, right? So it's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
They've even got the bow and arrow thing in there, like Horizon now as well, where it's like
Horizon Zero Dawn must be their #1 influence for this game.
Yeah,
it's gotta be. Yeah. It's gotta be. You'll see. Assassin's Creed Origins kind of was like the reverse Far Cry. Like if I had 50 or 40 quid, whatever, for a Ubisoft game and I could pick between two of them, a week ago it would have definitely been Far Cry 5. Now I'll definitely get
South
Assassin's
Park,
Creed over that. But in reality, yeah, probably South Park. Yeah. So that's that was the last game we played. Then we went home.
Yeah.
So why not just end it on that? Oh, actually, eagle-eyed viewers may have spotted that I tried to get my hands on a copy of Tenchu Stealth Assassins on the PlayStation 1. Did I succeed? Why don't you take a look at this next clip where we'll show you all about that. Roll on.
What are you doing, Jake? Jake, what are you doing, dude?
Trying to get a vintage, rare, beautiful, quality Tenchu Prime, still in its case, at EGX 2017.
Do you think it's still going to be here? You saw it earlier, it might be gone by now.
If anyone's picked it up, mate, some shurikens are going to be flung. I'm going to find it, I'm going to hunt it down. I'm going to be a real ninja. 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 Real ninja.
Why don't you try and ninja past these people, dude?
He didn't suspect the thing. Can't whip out the blades.
Patience is the key to being a ninja, Jake. It's good patience.
Mowam the fuck out of here. Thank you very much.
What did you get yourself?
A rare, spicy, boxed Tenchu Stealth Assassins from the PlayStation 1. That's what I got myself. And no blood was shed that day. And now, like the real ninja I am, I'm out of here.
Wasn't that fun? So next, let's look at our 30-second throwdown segment, and this week it's courtesy of boy Mike.
Okay, let me get the timer up here.
So the title for this one is simply Cues. Mike, take the floor.
Okay, let me wait till the seconds are kind of at a nice round number. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so imagine queuing for 3 hours to play something for 10 minutes. I don't think that's cool. I think a publisher, if you're going to come to an event like EGX, you need to fill that shit, fill that floor with units, right? Exactly like Total War did, exactly like Sega did with Total War. Give so many computers, so many systems, so many units, so many consoles that people just, there's no waiting around. You can just hop on it and play it. There were people waiting for hours and hours and hours to play 10-minute demos. And that is just bollocks, man. That is not good enough. Do better.
Done.
I think that was 30 seconds.
It was exactly 30 seconds. Well done, Mike. Well done.
Kudos to you. So yeah, that was it. I don't think we really need the 30-second throwdown jingle, do we, guys? So we'll leave that out. What we do need, though, is that time of the podcast for Fact of the Week. Roll that jingle. All right. So this week's Fact of the Week. Short but sweet. A rejected idea in Animal Crossing New Leaf was to allow the player to pan for gold. Alright, so the Patreon questions this week. are coming in thick and fast. We had a lot of people congratulating us on hitting our milestones and wishing us luck for EGX. So I want to say a big thanks to everybody for leaving these lovely comments. And while we're on the sort of subject of Patreon and patrons, I just want to talk about Simply Phil, who attended EGX with us. He was great. I just want to say a big shout out to you. Thanks so much for,
proper gentleman.
We were like playing games foreplay, and one thing we didn't consider was, who's gonna like fucking look after the camera and shit. He'd do that. He was just really nice to be around for all that time. So I mean, this is your time to shine, baby. It was a lovely time. It was really nice to meet you. It was nice to chat to you. We had we didn't really play enough games co-op for my liking, but I just want to say, it was really awesome. So definitely big shouts out to Simply Phil. So why not let Simply Phil lead the way this week with the Patreon questions with this spicy little number. He asks, which of you like Marmite? Well, that's a definite evolution of the question that we faced last week, and we had some discussions about that. And which of you like Marmite is a great question. Thanks.
I don't.
Thanks for your effort.
I don't
like Marmite.
Do you, Jake?
Yes.
Okay.
Liam doesn't like Marmite either.
So I
do. So that's that.
That's Marmite's marketing all wrong, isn't it? It's not 50-50 at all. It's like 25-75.
So, Marmite, the verdict's in. Pretty good game as a whole, don't like it. Stephen B. Jones next. So that's democracy at work. Hello. Sorry to be a pain, but just wondering if there's a download available for the podcast. This is important because I uploaded the audio for that podcast twice and it just didn't work. So I'll try it again and I'll let you guys know this week's podcast that next week's available as well. It's an oversight really, and I don't know what's happened. I've uploaded it twice and it just wasn't having it. So
admin there.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I just thought I'd own that for everyone else that asked. No, because a lot of people had asked. Anyway, Stephen Buford Jones then follows up with this question. Also, I know it's a gaming channel, but what did you guys think of It and Mother, if you've seen them? Cheers. None of us have seen Mother, so no. I guess you both have seen It. Take the floor, boys. What did you think of it?
It was ruined for me by the screening I went to, I think. So I went at like 2:30, 3 o'clock or something like that on a Saturday, and it was full of kids who were like sneaking into the thing, and they had all flipping staff in there trying to get rid of them, and they just kind of ruined it for me, I think, because I didn't enjoy it that much. It just had really good reviews, and I hate it when that happens. I hate it when something gets really well reviewed and people are raving about it, and people, Gaz, you really liked it as well, coming into work saying that you loved it, and then I just kind of don't connect with it. So I wasn't a huge fan, to be honest. I don't know. I can't tell you exactly what it is. I could talk about half an hour trying to explain myself to you, but who wants that?
I loved it. I watched it in IMAX, and it was the exact opposite to you. There was like 2 or 3 other people in the seats, and it was completely empty. And I thought it was amazing. I mean, I'd watched the original It movie back in the day, so I'm familiar with the stories, familiar with the characters, and a lot ties over with this one. It also reminds me a lot of Stranger Things. The fact that they're riding the bikes around. One of the guys is actually from Stranger Things. Yeah. There's that. What I loved most about it was that the child actors were awesome. The that banter and that playfulness in the actors, and it came across really well. And there was that light relief that you need in a film like that, where it's like really serious. Kids getting taken and killed or whatever. Yeah. Killed or whatever. Yeah, I
just murdered us.
Yeah, killed or whatever. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I could tell you exactly what's happening to you, but it's not that. So I think it was a great film. It was one of my favourite films that I've seen. I enjoyed it a lot more than Dunkirk. I've got to be honest. Got to throw it down there. Dunkirk, not enough happened. This was an awesome movie. If you've watched the originals and you enjoyed it, you will love this. If you watch Stranger Things, you will see the similarities. It's got the same type of feeling. A huge thumbs up for me. Almost a perfect film.
Some contrasting views there.
Want? Yeah, exactly. I was supposed to go and see it, but my mum keeps saying, "Nah, mate, we'll go and watch it the next day," and we just never go and watch it because my mum's like a big Stephen King fan, so I haven't seen it. So Ben Mortimer next. He says, "Come on then, Mike." Sounds like a fight. After that stellar response, what's your favourite Futurama episode?
It's Rick and Morty, wasn't it, last week? Best Futurama episode. There's absolutely loads of them. So Fry's dog is an obvious one, right? If you've seen that episode, you know what I'm talking about. I've seen that like 3 or 4 times. I can't watch it anymore. I can't watch it through to the end. Right? I'm not going to spoil it for anyone. But Fry's dog is a big one. But honest to God, the very, very last episode, because I thought it was an incredible way to end. It's a sci-fi series. It's had this kind of thing with Fry and Leela all the way through, and then right at the end, they just do this beautiful, beautiful thing at the end where they kind of. I don't want to spoil it, but it's amazing. No. It's really creative. It's such a good like sci-fi ending, like a proper good, proper in keeping with the tone of the show. I can't think of any better way to finish the series. So honestly, the very last episode.
All right, well, no, there we go. Jonathan Jarvis says, "No duck game button?" ? So is that a question? To which I respond, yes, duck game button.
Jake wasn't here last week, so obviously. Nobody was as enthused about bringing it in.
So. Duck Button Secretary was unavailable, so
we're back. He's back in business. For everyone else that mentioned it as well, by the way, because it wasn't just Jonathan. The whole Duck Nation, really. Logan Knapp next says, "Hey guys, quick question about the latest video you put out about PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds and Fortnite. However, this question has nothing to do with that topic." Oh. This is actually a good question. This made me laugh. I was examining what was happening in the background. This is what we were recording at EGX, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, just so you know what's happening, I'll give you the context. And I saw, all the way to the right, next to Gaz, there was a sign that said cloakroom. Now, I know in the UK and some other countries, I'm from the US, they call parking garages / parking lots car parks, which I get. But cloakroom? Really? Is that an EGX thing, or are we in Harry Potter now? I mean, an astute observation, friend. Cloakroom.
Yeah, it's a cloakroom.
This ruined my life because I was thinking about oh my god, that's so fucking old-fashioned. Who has a cloak anymore?
It's true. It's old-fashioned.
It's one of the things that's just never changed. Like just a coat room would be fine. Cloak. I mean, for an event,
it's right, but from a nation that calls things like sidewalk, whereas for us it's a pavement. It's a
path
where it's paved. Yeah. It's a pavement, but sidewalk, like it's a description. That's what you do on there. You walk on the side.
Oh right.
So
you walk sideways like a
you walk on the side. But I mean, don't be throwing down to us. Funny. You know what I mean?
It's funny. I guess EGX makes more sense than not at EGX because there's cosplayers there. Maybe some of them have got cloaks.
I don't think it's exclusive to cloaks though. You can put anything. You
can buy, but yeah. So
jumpers and that.
I mean, it's a question, but I don't know what the right answer is. But
the right answer is who invented the language, and start to jump off.
But yeah,
sorry, it's something me triggered there.
It's true though. Cloakroom, it's very fucking outdated. Maybe it should.
Why would you want to change it though?
You don't want to change tradition.
Cloakroom.
It's tradition.
It's like
your ancestors were calling it cloakroom, dude. That's all I'm saying.
I hope that answered your question. Look. Taurus Trio next. Me and the guys on Discord were talking about the Star Wars movies. Which one is your favourite, and do you have a least favourite? I love them all. I'm easily pleased. Mike's just confident laughter. Just like, do I have a favourite? Okay, you guys discuss. What's the best Star Wars film and the worst Star Wars film?
They're all awesome. They're all Star Wars. But people hate on the prequels so much. I watched them when I was a kid, so I don't have that. I can see that they are just absolute messes in a lot of ways, but I don't care. They're still full of lightsabers, still full of space battles, they're still full of Jedi and that. Who's watching Star Wars for like narrative and complex characters and that? If you are, you're doing it wrong. There's better films that do that. It's just you watch it for space samurai, don't you? I mean, what?
Okay.
So the question was what?
your best and worst.
Which is the best one? Best one, yeah, is the original because that's where it all comes from. Even though Empire Strikes Back is a popular one, and the worst one is like Attack of the Clones, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Fucking shit heap that, but it's still really fun.
Okay, Gareth,
it's still Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Yeah, I enjoy the films. They're just action movies. They're great.
You got a best one?
Have I got a best one? The episode 7.
Okay.
Called it.
Nice.
What was it? What's that called?
Force Awakens.
Force Awakens. I like that one. Rogue One, I didn't so much because it was just like, how do we justify that the fact that the Death Star has this like abort button and the whole thing explodes. I know, we'll write this movie about it, the standalone movie, and explain it just so that everyone doesn't criticise us on the internet. It's not a meme anymore. I think that's the whole film, is killing a meme. Yeah. That's all that film is. I didn't like it.
That's a good way of looking at it. I never thought of it like that. Right, so there we go. I hope that answers your question. Roger Huertas asks, hey guys, quick little question if you don't mind. What are your thoughts about the next Tomb Raider movie coming out in 2018, in brackets? Will it be good? Will it suck? What do you think of the previous ones?
My thoughts are Alicia Vikander.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, let's leave it
Yeah.
And let's move on.
Okay, the last question.
No, honestly, I mean, I don't follow the movies or the games, so I've got no opinion on it, to be honest. So I mean, that's as good an answer as any.
Honestly, that is my thoughts. Kyle Ramos with the last question of the podcast. Congrats on reaching the goal, guys. Thanks. Love your channel. Thanks. I have a question. Any predictions on Game of the Year?
Predictions, or...
He's not finished just yet. He says, what do you guys think of Star Wars Battlefront 2 on the matter? My favourite so far. Huge Star Wars fan, and the game looks amazing so far, what we've seen. So I think that's his prediction. So you get any predictions? So that can include games that aren't out yet.
By popular verdict, as in, I reckon this is what PC Gamer and whatnot will choose. Divinity Original Sin 2.
Yeah. Well, they fucking should, though, shouldn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, Divinity Original Sin 2 is probably going to be Game of the Year. We were just talking about this just before we came in, actually. That's like
Breath of the Wild is the obvious one that a lot of people will just default to, I think, because the reviews, you can't argue against it so much when you're looking at reviews as well as it's done. Not that I want it to be Game of the Year, not by a long shot, because for me it wasn't, but I think that's an obvious choice. Yeah,
we were just talking about the golden joysticks before we came in here. It's in a kind of award ceremony, and there's like Game of the Year nominations, and it's like by public vote, right? And 2 of the games that have been nominated aren't even out yet. So how the fuck are they Game of the Year when they're not out yet? Like
Assassin's Creed
and Super Mario Odyssey.
Fuck off.
They're nominated, but
if this is any indication, if we're talking about like real predictions, I'll just tell you on Golden Joystick, the 2 most popular, the most voted for Game of the Year nominations, because public decide on the nominations, but I think a panel of judges decide on it.
Yeah, we'll choose the...
So the ones that have been voted the most for entry are Horizon Zero Dawn and Persona 5. So I can see Horizon winning Game of the Year in some places. Persona 5 is like a force to be reckoned with. Breath of the Wild, this is the thing. There's going to be loads of people who will not want it not voted because they're just like bitter. I don't know, it's a weird vibe about Breath of the Wild. There's a lot of like little bitches that don't like playing Nintendo games, so they'll just whinge about it. The PC Master Race should probably bow to the rightful king in terms of not just popular opinion right now, but Metacritic. Divinity Original Sin 2 is the fucking power play of the fucking year. Divinity Original Sin 2 is just incredible.
No bias there at all.
No bias.
Totally.
I mean, if like in Gaz's words a minute ago, if you go for like the reviews and Metacritic and stuff like that, it's up under Breath of the Wild. Divinity's had the most positive reviews, which for a game with the fucking... I mean, Zelda is like a legacy. Divinity Original Sin 2, like... But
this is my question, though, but... the people who review games like Divinity Original Sin 2 are people that are experienced in that genre, and because if you've got a group of reviewers on your team, like Attack or whatever, you won't choose someone who's used to first-person shooters to go and play, Call of Duty, Ruzavio, to go and play Divinity Original Sin 2. So the reviews are always going to reflect someone who's used to that type of game, who's familiar with them types of mechanics and things like that. So I think that might unnaturally raise the review score of a game like that. Whereas if somebody who's got no experience with that type of game, a PC specialist game like that, it might be a bit lower. If I guess
if you mean like anyone can play Zelda, like anyone can play Zelda and see why.
Have a good,
you know what I mean? But because Divinity's got such a high barrier. But it's like just refined. It depends what you experienced and if you like. I think it's incredible for a lot of reasons. But I think. Because it's so good within its genre, it's so good.
That's where it reflects. The scores reflect.
That's kind of what Total War is doing at the moment. It's like it's exactly the same thing. High barrier of entry, not casual, but people that like strategy are like. In fact, like PC Gamer give both of those games, Divinity and Total War, like 92 out of 100, or whatever. So
people are saying about Divinity though that exactly what they were saying about Zelda, like the best RPG ever made. Except Zelda, they were saying the best game ever made in some cases, but they're actually saying this is just the best one. Like, so that's really. You just can't get any higher praise.
What kind of sucks though, right? We're going to do, like, hopefully, I think we've talked about it before, like, we're going to do like a little award thing, you know, talk about things. I think there's going to be so many amazing games that are just going to miss out this year.
Yeah.
Like, in a regular year, like, Resident Evil 7 should be Game of the Year. Like, but there's just, the competition is so fucking strong. Like, they've had so many good games, like Nier Automata, Neo, Resident Evil.
Yeah, that's true.
They're all, like, games that would clearly win normally. Like, but this year, it's just, like, fucking...
I'd want it to go to Divinity. If failing that, then Horizon, because I think that's peak AAA. Like, you can't do a big blockbuster AAA game better than Horizon Zero Dawn. You're looking at like Last of Us, and you know that kind of level of awesomeness, and it's so polished and so well designed, and it's just epitomised the open world genre. That is what every game is trying to be at the moment. You can see like Assassin's Creed's trying to be Horizon, like we were talking about earlier. I think it's just ultimate AAA this year. It's not going to get any better than.
So you reckon that? So serious prediction would be Horizon, Breath of the Wild, and like I'm saying, even though the PC Master Race blab on about it all the time, they're not going to come through with the goods. Divinity's not going to win anywhere really, because it'll be like
it will, you know, it will.
Yeah, I mean,
it'll get recognition, that's for sure.
Yeah. I reckon Breath of the Wild's going to win Game of the Year as well.
I mean, realistically, looking at the industry as it is, Breath of the Wild is almost a nailed-on shoe-in for it. Every single Zelda game previously has won Game of the Year in a lot of places, so why would they change the habit of a lifetime and piss people off?
Yeah, true.
Risk though, that backlash that Jim Sterling got a hold of, you know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, it's
why would you risk that when you're part of the industry?
Divinity, people saying things about it that the only other game that got that is like The Witcher, like a year later. So I don't know, man. Is it the next Witch? It's better. Right, on that note,
oh wow,
on that
bombshell,
on that fucking quacking bombshell, fight me IRL. Let's end it, okay? Let's end it all now.
End it all.
Podcast 31. It's been a bit of a long one, guys. Thanks for sticking with us. It's been a bit of a slog because we've had so much to talk about. Business as usual. Next week, Jake Kulkowski, Mike Williams, and Gareth Evans. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.